For the past several episodes, we've talked about families destroyed from the inside. And I know we just finished the series, but then, on Sunday evening, another family gathered around a table for dinner. 4 generations were inside the same house. And sometime around 5:49 p.m, another member of the family arrived. His name was Alan Smith. Less than 20 minutes later, a 12-year-old girl inside that house was calling 911, while gunshots could be heard in the background. She didn't survive. 8 members of one family gone during what was supposed to be an ordinary Sunday dinner. Tonight, we're going to Billings, Montana. And unlike most of the cases we've covered this week, this one happened just days ago. There are still questions investigators can't answer, and according to the sheriff, some of them may never be answered. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. The house stood at 315 White Star Circle on the outskirts of Billings, Montana. It belonged to Dana and Barbara "Barb" Smith. Dana was 73. Barb was 72. Dana had served in the Air Force and later worked for Boeing. Barb was a retired teacher. They weren't originally from Montana. The Smith family had spent years around the Seattle area before eventually relocating. Their daughter, Megan Ireland Ghekiere, moved to Montana after her first marriage ended. She had 2 children from that marriage, 13-year-old Owen Ireland and 7-year-old Chloe Ireland. Megan eventually remarried a man named Adam Ghekiere. And Adam had 2 children from his previous relationship, 15-year-old Landon and 12-year-old Charlotte. Together they became this big, blended family. And according to people who actually knew them, it worked. The children were close. Their parents remained friendly with former partners. There wasn't some giant war between the different branches of the family. A family friend described them simply as a very loving and close family. Megan was 39 and worked in healthcare. Dana and Barb had followed her to Montana, eventually buying the White Star Circle house nearby. And Dana's mother, 92-year-old Evelyn Smith, also lived in the area. Evelyn used a wheelchair and lived at a retirement community. So by August 2026, 4 generations of this family were living relatively close to one another. But there was another member of the Smith family, Megan's older brother Alan. Alan Smith was 44 years old. And unlike the other cases we've covered this week, there doesn't appear to have been some long criminal record sitting there waiting for somebody to notice. Authorities say police had no previous contact with Alan at this house. A search of criminal records reported by the Associated Press also found no known arrests or criminal charges against him in Montana or Washington. But relatives say there were problems. Alan had attended Eastern Washington University, but apparently struggled to find or maintain employment. Brad Ireland, Megan's former husband, described Alan as essentially a hermit. He said Alan spent most of his time alone in his room, on his computer. And while Brad said he wasn't aware of Alan previously becoming physically violent, he described him as capable of being verbally abusive. Another former neighbor from Washington remembered Alan simply as shy. People knew the family struggled with him, but nothing suggested, at least publicly, what was coming. Alan eventually moved into his parents' home in Montana and stayed there for years. Then, just a few weeks before the shooting, Dana and Barb told their 44-year-old son he needed to move out. We need to be careful here. Authorities have not officially established that as the motive, but relatives have confirmed the disagreement and that Alan had been asked to leave the house shortly before the killings. Which brings us to Sunday, August 23rd. This wasn't some unusual family reunion. According to relatives, the family regularly gathered for Sunday dinner, and that evening, almost everyone was there. Dana, Barb, their daughter Megan, Evelyn, the 92-year-old family matriarch, and all 4 children, Owen, Chloe, Landon, and Charlotte. One person who normally would have been with them wasn't. Megan's husband Adam was working. He is an airport rescue firefighter, and that detail becomes particularly heartbreaking later. Because while Adam was at work, his entire family was about to become the emergency everyone else was responding to. At approximately 5:49 p.m., Alan Smith arrived in the neighborhood. He apparently wasn't expected. What happened inside over the next few minutes is still being reconstructed. But shortly after 6 p.m., someone inside the house managed to call 911. Authorities have officially said the caller was female, but they haven't publicly confirmed her identity. The family has. According to family friend Jennifer Mercer, the person who picked up that phone was 12-year-old Charlotte Ghekiere. Charlotte was one of the children sitting down for Sunday dinner, and when violence erupted, this little girl apparently understood exactly what she needed to do. She called for help. The dispatcher could hear gunfire. Charlotte's family now calls her a hero, because whatever was happening around her, she was trying to save them. The first 911 report came in at approximately 6:01 p.m. An active shooter, a family home, gunfire audible over the phone. Officers rushed toward White Star Circle, but they wouldn't arrive until around 6:12. 11 minutes. Under normal circumstances, 11 minutes doesn't sound like much. Inside that house, it must have felt endless. When the first officers arrived, the shooting still wasn't over. They heard more gunfire coming from behind the house. Then, almost immediately, another emergency appeared. Smoke. At approximately 6:15 p.m., smoke began pouring from the residence. Within minutes, the house was becoming completely engulfed. And now, police and firefighters had an impossible situation. There were potentially wounded people inside. The house was burning, but an armed man was still on the property. Firefighters couldn't simply walk into an active shooting. According to the newer timeline, officers encountered Alan. He retreated back toward the house. More gunfire followed. Then Alan moved into the backyard, and there he shot himself. Police secured him, and he was transported to a hospital at approximately 6:48 p.m. He later died. But by then, the house was an inferno. This is one of the cruelest parts of the entire story. Firefighters were there, police were there, emergency crews were everywhere. But rescuers couldn't immediately reach the people inside. The active shooter situation delayed normal firefighting operations. And the location created another problem. The subdivision sits outside Billings municipal boundaries and wasn't required to have normal city fire hydrants. Fire crews had to shuttle water into the area. They managed to stop the flames from spreading to neighbouring homes, but they couldn't save White Star Circle. The structure burned so severely that afterward, investigators couldn't simply walk inside and begin recovering evidence. The house was structurally unstable. They had to move carefully, piece by piece, through what remained. And eventually, the scale of what happened became clear. 8 people had been killed. Dana Smith, 73. Barbara Smith, 72. Their daughter, Megan Ireland Ghekiere, 39. Dana's mother, Evelyn Smith, 92. And the children, Landon Ghekiere, 15. Owen Ireland, 13. Charlotte Ghekiere, 12, and Chloe Ireland, 7. 4 adults, 4 children, 4 generations. And authorities say the person responsible was another member of that same family, Alan Smith. There is another side of this case that I think is difficult to even imagine. 2 fathers survived because neither happened to be at Sunday dinner. Brad Ireland, Megan's former husband, and Adam Ghekiere, Megan's current husband. Adam was working that night. Remember, he's an airport firefighter. He reportedly began hearing emergency radio traffic involving an incident near his in-laws' home. Then, calls to his family weren't being answered. Eventually, he learned that his wife, his children, his stepchildren, and his in-laws were all gone. And I don't even know how you begin processing something like that. You leave for work, and your family sits down for dinner. Then you come home, and there isn't even a home anymore. And now comes the question everyone wants answered. Why? We don't know. And I don't want to turn family statements into an official motive before investigators do. We know relatives say there had been concerns about him. We know his parents asked him to move out only weeks before the murders. But we don't know what was happening inside his head, or whether something specific happened immediately before the attack. And Sheriff Kent O'Donnell has acknowledged something frustrating but important. Some answers may simply have died with Alan, because there will be no trial, no interrogation, no defendants sitting across from detectives, no courtroom testimony explaining what happened. Investigators are left reconstructing a story from a burned house, physical evidence, witness accounts, digital records, and those terrible minutes captured through emergency calls. This case is still extremely new. Investigators are continuing to process what's left of the house, and there are details we may learn over the coming days and weeks. So some parts of this story may change, but 8 names of the victims won't. Thanks for joining me tonight. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any updates about this case. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.